the inaugural first episode. You know, we'll look back on this day and go, holy shit, what were we thinking?
Yeah, or best decision ever.
yeah, definitely. So I suppose that one thing to start off with is who we are. So how about we introduce you? Who are you?
Yeah, I'm Stephen, a plumber from Gold Coast and Brisbane, somewhere in between there. And just doing it really because, I don't know, after having a baby, it's sort of turned things around, and it's been a bit hard. And even before that, it was pretty hard, just dealing with day-to-day life really. So, now in sales because who likes to work on the tools? And then just really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so your little one's one on Monday. Whole
Yes.
year, mate. Well done.
Mate, you would know. It's not too long ago we were celebrating yours, so seems like yesterday that they were born and at the delivery room or operating table for some, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I remember my experience quite vividly. We were very lucky or privileged, I suppose, is another word for it, to go private. So, you know, we got our own birth suite and we were the only ones in there and whatnot. And yeah, it was very interesting. It's just the longest, even that, talking about the labour side of things, like it didn't take all that long from when they started, but we didn't go in until that evening. So it was the longest 24 hours of my life.
Kind of wish I had that, but it was very long. It was a long process for me.
Yeah.
And doing it through the public system wasn't too bad, actually. I will say that, apart from, I guess, COVID stuffing it up.
Yeah, well, that was the interesting thing. And honestly, my opinion on that is that I don't think I would have had it any other way. Don't get me wrong. I love my family, but it was just, especially as first-time parents, it was great. So we got to stay in there for 5 days, right? And they give us food and drinks and stuff. And because of the lockdown and whatnot, we had no visitors. We were only allowed one visitor, and we, you know, my wife and I made the conscious decision that we'll have no one. So we got along though. Obviously, we made some friends there with people within the hospital, and even
other partners and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we were lucky. Some of them we had spent time in the prenatal, antenatal classes with, so we kind of knew them already. But yeah, it was good. But we created a dad's chat, so it was actually the dads that actually brought everyone together, not the mums.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Which is, you know, you one thing that my wife sort of mentioned of, you know, having that mums group, and that we didn't have that. But yeah, it was through the, don't get me wrong, the dads got in contact and then the wives took over, and it was just freaking awesome from there.
Yeah, you just take a step back then because
it's like, nah, they got it.
Yep.
But yeah, so it was actually quite interesting. But yeah, obviously, it's 2021 now, but last year we had COVID and lockdowns, and, you know, we're very lucky. We're obviously recording this from the Gold Coast, and we are not in lockdown.
Thankfully.
Currently we've got...
Today.
Today, tomorrow's a new day. But we've got currently Sydney and Melbourne in lockdown, and they're not having obviously as much of a fun time.
Yeah.
But obviously one of the reasons for the behind the podcast, so I suppose a bit of history. Well, what was your purpose for it? Because let's talk freely here. You instigated it.
I don't know. I guess I'd felt so long like we've all got mates, you know, love you guys. Not saying I don't. Sometimes it's, I guess it's just hard to talk to mates because you don't want to look like that weak one. And it's not even weak. It's just the stigma of the way everyone in society's been growing up really is, if you do start to push your problems on somebody else, you're sort of letting the team down. But and I know all of my mates, you know, and yourself as well, like we freely and openly about anything really, but it's sometimes it's just hard, and I feel like doing it this way is trying to get that way out, and it's going to put me in a different mindset. So as much as I'm also doing it for getting the name out there, it's also to sort of get my own things out there to feel my own confidence and basically speak up.
Yeah, well, it is. It's a bit of a stigma, isn't it? If I be so brazen to say the older generation, you you're a man, you do manly things, you
Yeah.
chop down trees, and
Yeah.
you don't talk about your mental health or about issues that you're facing. But the reality is that mental health affects everyone.
Yeah. And what's wrong with it? What's wrong with talking about it? Like, there isn't. There's nothing wrong.
No, my personal opinion is the more we talk about it, the more the stigma breaks down. And you know, we were only talking a couple of weeks ago. We've bit of a saying that we've had, what I've had at work, and I'm trying to stop myself from saying it is, oh well, today's a great day. I haven't jumped in front of a bus.
Yeah.
And I started to think that now that the company I work for is getting bigger, the likelihood that someone might have experienced that, whether it be directly, seeing it, or, through a friend of a friend, I'm just like, oh, hang on, I've got to stop that. That's, I get that it's a tongue-in-cheek, a joking way to deal with stress, which isn't necessarily the right thing to do. But,
That's your way? Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously the impact. So, you mentioned obviously one of the reasons is mental health, talking about it. So, why do you think men don't talk about their mental health?
Yeah, it's, I guess, because we're all judgmental bastards, I suppose. It's yeah, it's we look for reasons not to talk about it, or we try and find different ways to deal with it because we're worried about what people think and where you'll put yourself in that spectrum of how manly I am in society and stuff like that. So I guess it's more so just, I feel like we all are worried about people judging the situation rather than going, look, I need help, I need a hand, I want to reach out. So that to me is I think why I think we don't talk about it, because it's just one of those situations where we feel like we're going to be judged on how we perceive the way we're dealing with it and stuff like that. So yeah, to me that's probably what my concern is with it, and that's why I don't think a lot of blokes do talk about it.
So, given the open forum here, what are some of the mental health issues you've dealt with?
Yeah, I guess it's still dealing with the change in parenthood, the change in lifestyle, and I come from running a business and running or being partnered into a business where I started a Brisbane branch of a plumbing company, and and then sort of realising that I'd gotten to a point where I felt like I couldn't grow anymore, and that was sort of dividing things at home between myself, my partner. Then we had the baby, so everything changed, and all the aspects of everything sort of just got involved. And I was doing a business coach course, I guess, and just I'd finally taken responsibility of some of the issues I had, which was the work, the personal life, and I sort of looked back on myself and went, well, what do I want out of this? And I made the change, and now I'm in sales, and I absolutely love it. I want to say I drive around and do sweet FA, but in the long run of things, you constantly making changes and you're making those decisions to bring in more sales, I guess. But yeah, I can say I love what I do now because I can do what I like to do best, which is talk a lot of shit sometimes. And with the business side, if to me, I worked out that I was good at talking shit, and with sales, in my version of sales, I guess when I meet clients and contacts is, you get in contact with them. They're popped up, by the way. I saw that. So did the camera. So cop that.
I wonder why they're still sitting there.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the pop series. We will pop it in just a second. I'll grab a screwdriver out and we'll pop it. That tells you I'm still a tradie at heart because I've got a tool bag inside the office. So, but look, I learned very quickly that in my version of sales, if you become friends with someone, I like to buy things from my friends because I'm helping them out. So. My sales version my version of sales, I guess, is meeting people and getting to know them as a person first, which kind of opens up into what we're doing now, which is one of the reasons I thought about this type of podcast in the first place. Was I want people to get to know me, and I want to be that open person, much the same as yourself. We've spoken about this, that, if you need to reach out for something, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what time. If I answer the phone, I mean, if it's midnight and I'm asleep and I don't answer the phone, well, I'm sorry, but, my phone's on loud. So if I sleep through it, I probably needed that sleep. But, I just want people to know that we're here, we're mates. And, that's sort of what got me out of some of the ruts that I was in and some of the issues that I had with mental health, which was just being down all the time and not really looking forward to the next day just to see what comes next, but just making those little changes and looking towards myself first, making those changes to try and step forward, which I wouldn't have been able to do without the help of my business coach. It's making those changes was what dragged me out of some of those lower times. So, yeah.
So you mentioned obviously the business coach, and you mentioned that you were essentially opening an expansion. Sorry, I just looked over and saw my daughter running towards the door, very excited. But the expansion of a business that I believe was obviously a plumbing business.
Yeah.
So that was before your daughter was born, and so you obviously you're spinning up a business, which we'll call it a business for the sake of a business, and the all elements of it. So you've got the sales, probably a bit of marketing in there. My nose is blocking up, which is going to be really great. As well as still on the tools, you had an apprentice at the time.
Yeah.
Do you call him an apprentice?
He was definitely an apprentice, and I'm sure he'll probably pop his head out on the cast at some point. But we've got a couple. I have way too many funny stories, as you've seen on the Snapchats, and he's a good bloke. But so basically, I guess at the start of it, starting the business, I was actually a single man. I've got to stop saying
it takes time.
Work that out, yeah. But so starting the business, getting right into it, getting involved, and it was basically the business originally originated out in the Lockyer Valley, and I actually worked for the owner of, I don't know if I should say his whole name. Probably take that part out.
Well, I'll just try to edit that bit out.
Yeah. We'll take that part out.
I'll put a sound effect in.
Yeah, so we don't name drop. Yeah, so did that, and well, if I say it, I'm going to feel better. So it was. Yeah, so started it originated out at the Lockyer Valley. A lot of the clients were purely based in the Lockyer Valley, and the business was, I want to say, on a stagnating decline, just because of a business structure in one of our major clients, and they changed the way they were doing things, and they actually put on plumbers to work full time for them because they had quite enough work. And as you know, in business, you're always looking for efficiency. So if you're spending quite a lot of money on a subcontractor to come in and do that type of work, well then, if it warrants putting on a full-time employee to do that position, well then you're sort of silly not to, because you can make more money off that employee then. So
the beauty of using an outsourced mob is that you typically can do it more efficiently and can do a vast of different things than what, say, an in-house plumber can do.
Yeah, well, we've got all the additional tools. You're not spending that upfront cost and buying all the tools. And I often see, even in the industry, and now that I'm out of it, but I've seen it from both sides, running a business and also working for someone in general and all that sort of stuff. I've actually seen, when you go to jobs, the typical, and it's not everyone, but you get the typical owner who's standing there and they're watching you and they're going, "Oh, I probably could have done that myself." And you're like, "Well, you could, but I did a licensed trade for 4 years so that I could learn how to do this properly and the right way." And and they're like, "Oh, but it looks fairly easy." And you go, "Yeah, but there's a reason you called me here in the first place. If it was easy, you would have done it yourself." And the other side to that is, I've had to use, for demonstrational purpose, I've had to use a jetter, an eel, locator. You're looking at 25 grand's worth of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you could have done this yourself, definitely.
Yeah, if you
But
had 25 grand.
Would
worth
you
of
have
stuff.
just gone and invested 25 grand in the stuff that we've just used?
Or pay
to
the
use it once?
$1,500 invoice.
Yeah, or well, sometimes sometimes like a say simple jetter job. If you're out there for 5 minutes, you're not going to charge them through the leg.
No.
You charge them the service fee for that item, which generally, hypothetically speaking, is the cost of you getting there, maybe the first hour, and the cost of that good that whether you're paying it off or you've worked out a cost analysis on what it costs you to buy and how much you have to sell it for. So let's just say it's $300 or $350, $400. Sometimes it's only a small amount, and to have someone go, oh, I could do that myself, and you go, it's only $400. Like, if
sure, mate, go buy the Jetta and come talk to me.
Yeah, go and spend 30 grand on tools and then do that $300 job for yourself. Like,
so there's two things I'll add to that. Is that you're absolutely right. Like the reality though. Now I'm going to use a very basic plumbing analogy, so sorry.
No, it's all right.
But the reality is you've serviced thousands and thousands of toilets, whereas the in-house plumber may not have. He or she might only service a couple hundred toilets a year. So there are things that you're going to learn and pick up and efficiencies that they may not.
Just aren't there.
Yeah.
And look, I guess as well, looking back on the past 4 years, so looking back just at COVID for last year when it all sort of kicked off. Now, when you think about a lot of our work was schools, TAFEs, universities, hospitals, things like that. When you look back on it and you go, well, when COVID happened, all of those facilities were shut down. So they didn't have on-site students. They didn't have, a lot of the students or the schools were closed and things like that. So when you look back on that and everything's shut down, if for the company to have an in-house plumber and they're shut down, well, now they're paying a full-time wage rather than, oh, we don't have any work for the subcontractor. So, yeah, when you look at things like that, I mean, when they obviously did their cost analysis and breakdowns and everything, they probably didn't think that COVID was going to shut everything down.
I don't think anyone thought that.
Definitely. So when you look at things like that, it kind of does work out to pay for itself by using a subcontractor. And not only does that keep the world moving as well, but I guess when you look back historically, there's probably not really been much that's been like this in this sort of level. Like, there has been widespread disease and stuff like that before, but nothing's really shut down entire countries and stuff like that like it has now.
Second part, which I was going to mention is, and I think it's a fable. I don't necessarily know if it's true, but there is a story that does its rounds, which is, there's a piece of machinery that needs a repair. It's not running right. And they get a quote from one gentleman and it was 10 grand. And they get another quote from another engineer and it was $1,500. So, of course, they went with the $1,500 guy. Now, after 4 days, this guy could not get it working, could not figure it out. And so they called in a specialist. The specialist walked in with his hammer, looked at it for 3 seconds, bashed his hammer, and then started to walk away and gave him the $10,000 invoice. And the company turned around and said, I want that itemised. So he itemised it. And it was...
10 site.
No. It was $9,000 for knowing where to hit. And it just went to go that, sometimes you have to pay for the expertise. And that's whether it be equipment or, you
it can
believe
be
it or
anything.
Yeah, it can be anything. But believe it or not, that by you being a plumber for X number of years, you've picked up skills that they can't teach you in a book.
Yeah.
You recently redid my shower head in my ensuite, and there was things like you said, oh, it's easy, you can do it yourself, but I'll come down and help you. And about 5 minutes into it, you realise that the thread head was stuffed, and we had to get a little Dremel out in order to make a new thread just to put it on.
That was my bad. I probably should have specified that. It's and when you look at things like that too, that kind of shows you like the quality in two different types of people. So like as a plumber myself and with the business and in all of our staff and everything else, the quality we would go through. So we've got those tools to once you cut a thread down, you burr it or deburr it, and you take away that rough edge so that you don't cross thread and stuff like that. But from what I found, yeah, when we went down there and had a look, that there was none of that was done. It was just rough housing, dirty, just slap it together and hope for the best. So yeah, just to see that, I guess that's where it comes down from me going, yeah, just do it, it's easy, and then going, oh, wait a minute,
Yeah.
I'll do it because we've only got one shot at this if you proper stuff it up, and I don't feel like cutting tiles and pulling walls out today, but
No, and I'm thankful that we didn't have to do that because that would have been horrible. We kind of digressed a bit. We went more to the literal shit talk.
yeah, yeah,
So
getting away from where we were going, but we still got there.
yeah, we got there, and I think it's all valuable. So you mentioned, when you started creating that branch for the business, you were a single man.
Yeah.
So, you had, let's face it, minimal responsibilities other than making sure your belly was full and the fridge was stocked up with beer.
Pretty much. At the time, I had a housemate, Geordie, which everyone's going to meet, and we were living together and partying together, and I've got a couple of photos which we'll hopefully be able to post in this thing that you guys can see. So we used to do the thing where it was like, you'd buy a carton for the week or whatever, but then you'd be out and you'd see maybe another carton that you liked, and you were like, oh, that'd look good in the fridge. And so it ended up, it was pretty rough. Like, I'm a horrible cook. I'll put my hand up and say it, hand on heart, whatever you want to do. I'm a horrible cook. I can cook basically one thing in my life, which is spaghetti bolognese. Don't hang shit on me for that. It's good. I even make the sauce out of crushed tomatoes, and I do that properly. That's the only thing I do properly.
No, I'm just looking, I'm going, 14 years and you've never once made spaghetti bolognese.
I hope you're talking to somebody else, because if you're asking me to make you dinner, at least buy me a drink first or something. You're like, I bought you plenty of drinks, you rude bastard.
I'm going to say that I've left plenty of drinks in the fridge, and I've come back literally the next week and they're gone.
I hope somebody in here can agree with me, right? If it's in my house for long 24 hours, it's mine.
No argument. I'm still a bit disappointed that I had to bring some others back, and I'm going...
Yeah, why did you bring them back? You didn't have to.
Someone else brought them back,
yeah,
and I'm just going to avoid an argument.
Yeah, it's just easier just to do... Yeah, well, that's... without sounding sexist, that's the easiest way to deal with a woman, especially if you're married to her or dating them. You just keep them happy. It's the easiest way to just survive life. But horrible at cooking. So basically, it was like if I couldn't order it, probably wasn't eating it. But generally, it was we'll go to the pub for dinner, or we might have the occasional meal at home. But yeah, we went through a stage where it was sort of like, how much piss can you fit in the fridge? And you open the fridge door and all you could see was, now I sound like a true alcoholic, but you open the fridge door and it looked like heaven because it was just from ground, and it was good. Like, you drink when you wanted to. There's no judgment, I guess. None of that, and I guess that's why we fight with partners. There's little bits of judgment in each other, and it's not just one-sided. It's definitely little bits of judgment from each other, and that sort of turns into bigger problems, and that's, I guess, another issue in itself. But yeah, so just having with the business as well, and just starting out, obviously being single, and you could put a lot more effort into different things, less focus on, say, yourself, or I want to say finding someone and having a night out or a night in, whichever the case may be. But yeah, just having that bit of a change in environment was good, and it was good for the startup, and we killed it as far as I'm concerned. Like, for the first 2 years, it was pretty good, or first year and a half at least. Things turned around. They started really well, started really strong. We put on 2 extra blokes on top of the 3 that we had. Then we had subbies as well that helped us out. It was going really, really well. But then obviously COVID and...
So you obviously had, we'll call it changing responsibilities, because you've gone from tradie to, tradie manager, business manager.
Yeah.
So how What impact did that have on your life?
Yeah, so I guess things sort of turned around. So it's going really well, and everything was on an uphill. You know, we were kicking goals, which is what we always plan to do, and things just sort of, I guess, started dying off. Like we were still kicking goals, still pushing. You know, we brought in another business as part of it, which was an electrical business. So we were really, really kicking goals. And then COVID hit. So I guess the change in responsibilities going from, you know, basically startup right through till, you know, now we're managing people and managing, you know, customers and building relationships and client relationships and all that sort of stuff. So trying to juggle that as a whole, in the end, took a lot of toll on me.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of one of the factors why I sat down and I finally had a good hard look at myself and went, you know, is this what you want to do? And I guess I learnt in myself that it was what I wanted to do, to keep kicking goals, but not to keep kicking goals and missing. That's sort of how it all started going downhill. Was basically, with COVID, obviously, like I said, we did a lot of schools, TAFEs, things like that. When they started to close down, and it was essentially like our whole world got turned upside down. So we had to try and take new targets and, I guess, target a different market. And we've had a lot of experience before where we've been burnt by different markets in the industry. So that was taking a big toll, and then seeing the destruction, I suppose, and the hurt that it was causing myself, the director, his family, my family, and then obviously celebrating. You know, I've obviously got a partner in that time, and then we went on holidays and conceived our beautiful little girl, and then obviously having Mia, might as well just say it, I suppose. It was just a big turn, and that having all of that hit at once was sort of what really, really started bringing out the old anger side of me, which was sort of dormant for a very long time. Which stems from a bigger problem back when I was younger, and the life experiences I went through, which, you know, we've talked about, and I'm sure we'll talk about on here.
Yeah, definitely.
It's you know, it's one of those things where, because it was, I guess, at a low point, and then I'd come up from that, and I was kicking goals, and I was really making, you know, kicking goals and taking names. Basically, I was, you know, I felt like I was killing it, and then just to see that whole thing come sort of unstuck and start to fall apart. That's where I sort of fell into a dark hole of, that was, I guess, when I started drinking a lot, and, you know, I wasn't just drinking to party, I was drinking to forget things. So that's when it becomes a problem.
Well, it sounds like it was a cataclysmic event, because you had the ups and downs. So you had the ups of your, you know, firstborn coming into the world. You had the downs of also, actually, I'll say the ups of having to be agile to be able to deliver on different businesses, right? Because you suddenly didn't have access to your TAFE university. So the excitement of going, okay, here's a problem, how do I solve it?
Yeah.
Where's this new where am I going to get this new challenge from? And then obviously the downs of going, well, we're not hitting goals. You know, to put it in, I suppose, a black and white
cost is still there, but
it's
the workload's not as fluctuant. And
and it was obviously hard for a lot of businesses, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. And touching on that, I was quite, I guess I want to say, quite impressed with a entertainment company in America, right? Because when COVID first hit and pretty much everywhere got shut down, it was actually a strip club. Now, the strip clubs over here, obviously, as we all know, at the start, which I don't know if it was a bit of a government, you know, decision or not, but at the very start, they were still open.
Okay.
Yeah, so for the first little bit, they were still open. And then it was like, oh, hang on a minute, we better close everything. Similar to what they did, remember, with the hairdressers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was like, they were on like a list that basically said, well, it's a need. I mean, say need with inverted commas, because I guess for some people it's sexual release, I suppose, but there's lots of other things you could do. You don't have to go to a strip club to sex relief. But anyway, so this strip club in America, what they did, they actually put up these big gazebo tents and turned it into a drive-through strip club. So I'll show you a video on it later.
Oh, okay.
It's so, and it was I think they were topless. Well, in the videos anyway. I don't know if that was a full nudity shows or anything like that, but what they did was they just went, well, because over there they don't really have base wages. So at least here, if you were a full-time employee, I mean, I don't know many strip clubs that hire full-time employees. I suppose you might have bartenders and chefs or something if you
maybe.
But if you're a full-time employee, you get paid over here, but over there, you could be a full-time employee, but you get no benefits.
No.
So if there's no work, you're essentially a casual worker. So for them, obviously, being, a lot of that industry over there is all cash in hand. There's no traces or anything like that. They wanted to find a way to keep their girls employed.
Yeah.
Now, I was really respectful of the company. I actually thought really highly of them, because the business owners did not take a single cent out of it, because over there they had insurances to cover losses of income and stuff. So what they actually did, they set up these booths, these drive-through booths, and it was like a pick-up and order delivery, so you could order food. They had their chefs employed still.
Yeah.
And then the dancers were obviously dancing on poles and stuff, but through these tents. So you got these tents, and then you drive through the tents, and they were still dancing. And they were actually, I don't know, did you ever have to pick up litter as a kid at school with those hand claw things? Yeah. So the ladies were actually dancing on these poles, and then they would, the guys or the females, there was even females, they were having full parties go through there, and they were holding the money out the window, and these girls were grabbing them with the rubbish pickups and putting them in, and then they'd sanitize them. And then what they were all doing was, at the end of the night, all of the tips got put together, and they were split evenly between every single person in the company. Yeah. So the owner of the business was still getting paid because they were getting looked after through insurance, and then everybody who needed money in that business was getting an equal share. So, if they made a killing, they were all getting paid a killing. But if it was quiet for some reason, everyone was the same. So it wasn't just one person suffering; it was everyone's the same. So they're all working together, get it done better and faster. So it's crazy just to see how different businesses actually performed in, I guess, the environments we were stuck in.
Yeah, definitely, and that's definitely very innovative. If I am to say that, we know, obviously, based on news reports here in Australia, we had restaurants spin up a takeaway service overnight. Yeah. We had, actually, that's probably the only one that comes to mind at the moment. There's probably millions of others where, actually, there's a company that I've indirectly done some work for, and they ended up splitting their fleet. So they've got a fleet of trucks. They ended up splitting it down the middle. So their primary job was probably the larger end of what you do. So sucking out sewers or pits or mud or things like that. But they essentially reversed the vacuum mechanism and started sanitizing whole buildings.
That's pretty cool.
So they split it down the middle just to continue having the money rolling.
You did right. There's two types of people that tackle that scenario, I guess, and that is like people who panic and we sort of look at things and go, well, what do we do here? And then there's the people who go, well, it happened, so what are we going to do to, continue doing what we're doing? And it's just innovative ways, I should say, to think of, I guess, new business. And you never know, like that new business idea may be the idea that makes you the richest man on earth.
It could be. Well, it worked for Jeff, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just crazy when you look at things like that and situations and scenarios that some of our biggest companies in the world were created at the lowest points in their lives. Yeah. I've got a personal mate that I call a personal mate. every day, and I tell a lot of people about him because I've got a lot of respect for him. But he's been broke a couple of times, bankrupt, whatever. But he has never once looked bad. Like, he's obviously had mental moments, or I say mental moments, but like, mentally draining moments and down points and low points of his life. But to see that man every single day just not look back, he just goes, oh, well, it happened, and look where I'm at now. And he's to me, he's probably one of the wealthiest people I know, and he just he's so humble in everything he does.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, it might have been a month ago now, both of his brand new luxury cars had been stolen from the Gold Coast and taken on joyrides. And because of his connection with communities, he's not one of those blokes who's got lots of money that doesn't care about anyone else.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of money, but he looks after everyone the same way he has been looked after his whole life. Or if you treat him with respect, he's got respect for you. So with the mutual respect he's got in the community, that afternoon they found one of his cars because they knew that like the guy, they were kids, the kids that stole it, they knew that they were going to get caught because they'd seen literally this photo of his car, or both of his cars, but this photo of his car had been posted literally everywhere from the Gold Coast down to New South Wales, right up through the north coast of Australia. So just to see his connection in industry, in the environments, and just in the communities and society around here is incredible. And the other car, I don't know if they've found it yet, but I believe it's been in hiding by the looks of it. If they haven't found it, because the amount of people that have seen this post, and like I said, that afternoon they found one of them. So could only imagine. It's
and sort of looping it back. I know, and we'll probably talk about that low point in a future episode. But you parted ways with that plumbing business, and
and I don't even look at it as a low point, to be honest. It was low taking me down to it, and then I guess for me to notice, and for me to finally go, you know what, to do what's right for me and to look after myself. And I didn't do it from a place of hatred or anything. It was literally from love. I went, you know what, I love the guys I work. Well, I still love them, but love the guys I work with.
No, you're out.
You're out. See you later. Fuck you guys. But I love the guys I work with, and I still talk to all of them fairly regularly basis. But it was a turning point to actually, I guess, self-love, and to go, this is incredible.
Yeah. So sorry, maybe I'll extend on that. Is that I know leading up to that decision, we had quite a few conversations, and you were visibly frustrated. Is probably the polite word to put it. Decisions were being made that you didn't necessarily agree with, and that was causing confliction within yourself. And as you said, self-love.
Yeah.
And
which I wasn't doing at all.
And this is what I was sort of saying is one thing that I was really impressed, and I even said it to my wife, is that, and I said to a few people actually, so you get talked about it, not just in negative ways, like, holy shit, this is what Stephen did on the weekend. But I
see what he did? He woke up in handcuffs. No.
Oh no, we
You were there for that.
Yeah, I was actually. But no, we talked. Thanks, Siri. Go away.
I said handcuffs. I didn't say anything about Siri. But
yeah. But even as of this week, we were talking about your partner trying to stick an illicit substance up your bum.
Oh, man.
And the question obviously came around as to why. But
can we... Is it illegal to put that vision online? You can't see any nudity.
I don't know.
What if we put it with no sound?
Maybe.
You can't see any nudity, but I'll say that. You can see a arse cheek, and that's it.
Yeah, that's probably okay.
You do see me gecko up the wall, and it is hilarious. But...
Anyway, sorry. Off topic again.
Sorry, keep going.
But so you wound up there. You didn't have anything directly to go to. No full-time employment, I'll call it.
Yeah.
But it didn't faze you. It's don't get me wrong. I don't doubt that it might have created issues at home.
Or created tension.
Yeah,
Oh.
there you go. Tension. You know, how are we going to get food on the table, especially when you had a little one to feed and your
Yeah.
partner isn't working full-time hours, so that.
Yeah.
But you just turned around and you went, well, I'll find work, and that's what you did. You found work.
A lot of my self-worth, and if you can afford it, anybody, I do say, get yourself either a personal coach or even a business coach, even if it's for personal reasons. Like originally, and I'm going to give him a plug if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
Gio Silinesu, he was my business coach from Aurora Solutions, and he actually doesn't call it business coaching. So at the start, I guess we were part of a B&I group, the Business Network International, and we were actually. Oh, I've known him through Pro Trade beforehand, which is another, I guess, business course, but met him through there. But I'd never worked directly. Like I've had a few classes with him through Pro Trade, and then to work directly with him, he at the start was like, "Oh, I'm a business coach," and then he was like, "Well, I'm a personal coach," because that's how he's always worked. Now, I sort of got him. I got him through his journey as well, so he was still going through the same sort of things. He'd already established where he wanted to be, but he was going through those changes himself anyway. And I distinctly remember him going from one day he just came out. He's like, "Well, I was like, oh, it's a business coach." He's like, "I'm not a business coach. He goes, I'm a personal coach." He goes, "I teach business, or I can teach business, but I'm a personal coach," because you've got to look at yourself first and look within, because you create pretty much every scenario. Well, not pretty much. You create every scenario in life that you're ever in, and taking 100% responsibility for everything you do, because every bad scenario, good scenario, I mean, you decide whether it's bad or good, but every good, bad scenario, every tough time, every hard time you've ever been in, well, you're still alive.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's a bit of an age-old story, which is, obviously there's I'm going to get the physician wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Newton. But every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
But it's exactly that. You can choose how you react.
Yeah. And generally, when you make a choice, I mean, sometimes you might have 12 different options, but generally it's option A or option B, and you try something and option A doesn't work, and then you go, well, shit, now I've got to do option B anyway.
Yeah.
So you've always got yourself out of every hole you've ever been in, and that was through a lot of course. Now I've been working with him for 4 years, and you hear the same thing over and over again. Repetition is there, but every single time you hear the same thing, you'll take something different and you'll connect with something different. And to me, that was like one of the things. And one day, after listening to it, after hearing it, after going through it, it just hit me, and it was like, "What are you doing?" Like,
yeah,
I was down in the dumps, and the tension that it created. Now, touching on that, it's one thing I was told by an old friend of mine, and it was, there's one thing in life women want. Now, I'm not being sexist or anything like that, but it's one thing in life that women want, and it's certainty. Now, Gio, again, basically said to me, and this is one of the things I took away, was, I need you to tell me something that's certain in your life. He goes, because there's two things that are certain in your life. And I went,
I'm waiting for the smart ass response of death and taxes.
Well, yeah, basically. And he goes, yeah, you're right with that. One of them is death. You don't have to pay your tax. This is your choice. It is your choice. It just depends on how you want to go about it.
I was going to say, cause I suppose if you don't want to pay, you can end up in prison.
Yeah, but you've made that choice. Yeah. So he goes, there's two things that are certain. He goes, one, you were born, and two, you're going to die. And he goes, but from that, I want you to tell me the exact day, time, minute, hour, how you're going to die. And I went, probably jumping out of a plane, doing something cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure there's a Facebook survey for that, right?
Pretty much. I'm doing something cool, right?
Yeah.
He goes, okay, well, tell me a date. I'm like, he goes, don't lie to me. I want you to tell me a date. And I went, I'm about 60, Okay, so what date's that? Oh, I don't know. I'm not good at maths. I'm not going down that path.
Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
No, no,
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave that one. I'm not good at math, but yet I'm a plumber and I have to measure things.
Okay, well, I'm just...
Or is that why you're in sales now?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. No, so I went down that path, but it was like... And he goes, right, now stop bullshitting yourself and stop bullshitting me. He goes, you don't know when it's going to happen. He goes, so take more faith in yourself and have more confidence in yourself, which I might come across as a very confident person, but to myself, I don't believe it, which is a bit contradicting, but whatever.
We're our own worst enemies.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, but yeah, just basically went through and we're talking about that. And yeah, it sort of led me on that path with the tension. And it was like, well, although I don't have anything to go to, I know that I'm going to find exactly what I need when I need it because, and this is kind of what gave my partner confidence in it. And that was every time we ever needed money for anything, every time we, I don't know, let's say had a car emergency or had, I don't know, let's say a flat tire, I've always had the money there, or I've had the tools there, or I've had something there to fix it.
Yeah.
So when we spoke about this as in a discussion, I guess she still takes on some of that take back and that tension on it, but a lot of the time now she goes, like, it's fine. It's hard on her, I guess. I'm not her, but it's hard on her, and she's probably thinking sometimes like, fuck, does he really have it this time? Like, is it gonna pay off? But then she goes, well, hasn't failed soon, like this far, so we should be doing all right. So yeah, just having that confidence in yourself is something that took me a long time, and it got me to where I am today. And yeah, just walking through it and going, whatever I need, I'm gonna find. And I guess I've been lucky to be really good at my job, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but
Toot.
yeah, pretty
There
much.
you go, I'll toot it for you.
Yeah, I was like, wow, bro, I was hitting that flute, brother. I was going all that out. But yeah, like just to fuck it, toot my own horn.
Yeah.
I'm good at my job, and I know I'm good at my job because I've spent so long doing it and so long perfecting it that I don't like in industry, especially in plumbing, because that's my industry. I don't like doing something wrong because and I'm probably they'll probably take my license off me now because I'm gonna pick on them. But the licensing board for plumbing, if you've got a license and you do something wrong, you can expect them to chase your ass down, give you a massive fine, and take your license away for you. If you're a handyman, and I don't have anything bad on handyman, but if you're a handyman and you're doing unlicensed work, licensing don't do anything about it. They might do, maybe once out of every 1,000, but I've reported that many handymen. Again, I don't have anything wrong with you if you're doing your licensed trade, but for doing unlicensed plumbing work, with proof, with photos, with invoices that state they've done unlicensed plumbing work, and our licensing board looks at it and goes, do you want me to do something about that? Because we're not going to.
I guess that comes down to the question, though, is that if they're not licensed, what can they do? What power or authority does the licensing board have?
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you're an unlicensed driver, right? Let's say you've never had a license in your life.
Yep.
You go out, you drive a car, you get pulled over by the police.
Yeah.
You're still getting a fine.
Yeah.
If you're doing unlicensed work, and it's a government registered body who has the authority to give fines and take licenses, and I've seen in the past take homes off plumbers that have accidentally, and when I say accidentally, I mean they've done something that has caused an accident.
Yeah.
And they've been deemed responsible. Now, whether that be from maybe not clipping something correctly, maybe they run out of clips, so they spaced them out a bit further, or whether they've, they thought they used a steam fitting, but it was a water fitting or whatever. I'm just trying to...
Yeah, just generalise.
Yeah, but to go down that path, I'm going to be one of those rude guys who's got his phone on loud. Be like your Siri just interrupting.
Well, we'll look back to that in a second, actually.
But,
Sorry, continue.
no, you're right. But yeah, just to see that type of stuff, they've got the authority to do that. So surely, they've got the license to, if someone's doing unlicensed work, which could cause, and I say this, could cause the exact same problem that caused another plumber that I know to lose his home. They can take a home from someone for doing the exact same thing that an unlicensed person has done, but they can't take the house from that bloke because...
Well, I'm no legal expert by any mean feat, so I'd be curious just to see what power they have. So you're absolutely right. The police have legislated power written into policy that they can fine you for
driving unlicensed,
and things like that. But I'd be curious. Not so curious that I'm going to look it up.
Yeah,
my interest doesn't pique that much.
I was going to say, I've been in the industry and I still haven't looked it up because I can't be bothered.
But now back to you being a rude shit with your phone on. Now, small survey. You're absolutely right.
Listen to you judgmental bastard.
Not being judgmental. I'm curious. So, yes, my watch went off, which I actually don't understand how. I think me and my fat... I almost called them my ankles. My ankles are on my feet. Long day. Fat wrist probably just bent the wrong way and triggered it, which, I could do the same thing with, just holding down whatever button here, right? Now, I predominantly have my phone on silent. Permanently.
Someone else I know does that.
You don't have to whisper. She can't hear you.
And when you call her, and you really, really need her, and you call her 3 times, and then you call Google Home, and then you call the home phone.
You have a home phone?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't even have a home phone.
Yeah, and guess what?
Still didn't answer it?
Still doesn't answer.
See,
Even though everything's on loud except for her phone. Yeah. And then she rings me back and goes, sorry, my phone was on silent. And you go, what, you didn't hear anything else ring? And she goes, well, I did, but I didn't answer it. And you're like, god damn. What'd you need? Oh, I don't know, a newspaper or toilet paper to wipe my ass. Just something. It's good.
See, I counter it. I've got the watch, and the watch rings, so that's when I know my phone's ringing. Now, I will not sugarcoat it. I spend a lot of my time in meetings, which is why it's on silent. But I to an extent, don't understand people that have their phone on loud. Because one thing I absolutely hate, and we'll see how this comes across, but let's see if I unmute mine and I'll turn the volume up so you can hear. But this is one thing I hate, and I'm not sure if this is, but hear that noise? That tip tap tip tap tip tap tip tap as I'm typing?
Yeah, I reckon we could.
It is freaking annoying from my perspective.
I reckon we could definitely make everybody hear that. Just do the old same thing, and if we both do it at the same time, it's definite.
Yeah, but it
Mine's really quiet.
Yeah, you probably need to sound up, mate.
Touche.
Yeah, I just don't get it. It's on silent most of the time. Yeah. And look, to be honest, when my watch goes flat, I'm in a world of hurt because, I miss phone calls and everything. But, yeah.
Someone's getting in trouble for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm already in trouble, so. So, kind of going back to one of the original topics we said, where the purpose of this podcast is talk about mental health.
Yeah.
But when we were discussing this over the last couple of months, and yes, it has taken a couple of months. Well, shit, it's taken us like 3 weeks just to get in the same room together. Which probably need to talk about that. Maybe we need to do a few virtual ones if we can't get in, but we'll talk about that.
See what we can do with it, yeah.
But one thing we sort of said is that it'd be good to get people that have experienced things like substance abuse, alcohol abuse, whatever it may be, and just how it has impacted their mental health, but also how they've gotten out of the rut. So just putting it out there, we're obviously going to have some social channels available. So if you're interested in sharing your story, and sorry, I'm going to be one of those rude bastards and look at my phone, but please reach out to us on the socials.
We're getting some creepy ass looks from people outside.
Yeah. Need to get one of those studios with windows, not windows.
That's Instagram.
To the lovely ladies as they interrupted is we were actually probably a few moments from wrapping up this episode anyway. So yeah, just wanted to, I don't know how this is going to cut in, but I'll try anyway, but loop back is that, you know, if you are interested or you've got a story to tell, then reach out to us. We're going to have obviously the socials available, as well as an email address, which is podcast@licc.com.au. So feel free to shoot through your feedback, only obviously if it's positive. We don't want to hear your negative Nancy's out there.
And if it is negative, I'm going to look at it.
Yeah,
and I'll send it back to you with a photo like this.
Just do us a favour. Just put in the subject line negative, because then I'll just set up a rule to delete it anyway.
That works.
Oh shit!
See, he cracks himself up over here. I like it.
Oh, dying here so much. Not COVID. Not that I think. Anyway. I don't know. I think it's just on children in childcare. That's an episode in itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that kind of brings us to the end.
Yeah.
Any final last comments or words?
No, just I want to say congratulations to both of us for the first show done and dusted, and there'll be plenty more. And just reiterating basically what Paul said. It's if you've got something to say, speak up and say it. Like we don't. That sounded really rough. I know.
No, I'm just laughing.
I don't think you introduced yourself at all, did you?
No, this is the first time I actually mentioned my name. So, we'll leave that. But yeah,
we got to introduce somebody else in a minute, but he's scarily watching it. He's 5 minutes. All right, you got to. Yeah, well, he'll pop his head in anyway.
I think we've got to keep going for another 5 minutes. I'm pretty sure it's going to take him more than 5 minutes to have a fag. Smoke, that is.
Well, I was like, hey, today's society, you can't say that, by the way. Well, he's talking about a smoke, so that's all right. But basically, well, let's take our 5 minutes to introduce you, and we'll cut that into the start there.
Oh, whoops! I just realised that was actually showing on the camera.
Does it?
Yeah. Look, I press the light. It comes.
Oh, sick.
You can see yours.
I don't know how we'll do it, but we'll do it because I guess it's kind of.
Oh, it can be at the end.
That just proves that I could talk underwater. See that we've made it through an hour and something apart, like casting or recording, and nobody knows who you even are.
Yeah, it's not important. The underlying tone for this. No. In the sense of the underlying tone for this episode was getting to understand why the podcast has come about and what we want to achieve from it. So I know I'm probably looking at a more business approach, and sorry if people are like, throw it out, get rid of this drongo.
There's a reason I picked you. I've already told all my mates as well.
Because you need someone to work the laptop?
Well, that too. He is my IT bloke. Just like he calls me for plumbing issues, I call him for any IT issues. I'm like, Paul, and I mean simple ones. Well, I didn't think it was simple at the time, but have you ever wanted to get a password for your Wi-Fi off the laptop that you're using that's connected to the Wi-Fi? Well, I needed to do that. Didn't know how. A man right here told me how to do it over the phone. So if you need IT support, no, I'm just kidding.
No, I wouldn't call me. I employ people to do it now. I have a bit of a joke with a couple of my direct reports, and I said, yeah, you don't want me touching any IT tickets because I make it worse.
Yeah, we'll end up with lots of issues.
Yeah. This sort of stuff, though, this was bloody hell. Actually, some of this stuff goes back to high school days. That's how long ago. Which,
I went to a proper school, apparently, because I didn't get taught how to do school IT.
Well, see, I volunteered for the sound and lighting stuff. And they only took, 2 people from each year. So there's only 10 people in a school of 1,200.
Wow. That's pretty lucky.
Yeah, I remember those days. They were the good old days. Shout out to a couple of people I still infrequently communicate with that were in that group.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, basically, well, yeah, just reiterating exactly what Paul said, and yeah, if you ever need to speak up about anything, like our little thing, and I'm not sure if the other one's copyrighted or not, but it's like it isn't We Just Speak at all. Like if you need someone to talk to, I've especially after establishing that I wanted to do this and I wanted to be a part of this, just the amount of friends that have reached out to me from that space of like just knowing what we're trying to do here, the amount of friends that have reached out to me and we've spoken about things which ultimately could have definitely saved their lives. That sounded like a child slapped the floor. I'm not even gonna lie.
oh yeah, it sounded like it's a body dying or something.
Yeah, and now a baby's crying, so I'm pretty sure that was a baby that just slapped the floor.
Oh God, please don't. No, mine's in bed.
It's all mine, no. Oh. Yeah, that's what I...
And this probably makes terrible podcasting because you can't actually see what's happening. So that's something we're hoping we will learn.
Yeah. We'll find a way. And if not, we'll have to do this in an empty house. Go and get a shed or something.
Well, funny enough, and probably going to be cut out, but we did say that we were going to set up in the garage, but the acoustics were terrible.
Yeah.
But
We've been sitting there echoing like crazy for no reason.
Starting to think about the entertainment that's on the outside. I think the echo we might have to deal with.
We might have to work out, yeah, definitely. But sorry, back to just touching back on the amount of friends that have reached out, which could, like I said, ultimately have saved somebody's life. You like to think that it doesn't end in sadness, but in a lot of cases it does, and I've been following a lot more of it while looking into this and getting into this sort of, I want to say, industry or area. Just looking into it more and seeing the amount of issues that are out there, and they're not even issues. I would call it the issue is the reason we don't talk about it. And to be honest, there should be no reason that we don't talk about these things, because if it's at a point where you need to reach out, then it's already gone way too far. So to me, it's in order to get to that level sooner, before it gets to that level where you reach out to one person. If that one person doesn't answer, then it's the end of the line. It shouldn't have to be the end of the line.
Yeah, it's probably about self-reflection of understanding the signs of, I'm not okay, and being able to resolve that within yourself.
Yeah.
As well as, the people that you're in touch with every day. I know it's hard, but the slightest change in behaviour can indicate a problem.
Yeah.
And yes, it's okay to have a bad day. I get it. It is okay. But if you think someone's having a bad day, and there's a not-for-profit charity out there, Are You Okay? Obviously not affiliated with us in any form, shape or way. But it's asking the question, hey mate, are you okay? And this is one thing I try and teach a lot of people. Once again, not in any form, shape or way am I a psychologist, mental health profession. Actually, maybe I should go do that mental health first aid course. The guy at work's done one. We've actually got a mental health first aid officer on staff. He does other things as well. I feel like
that's something we should probably both do.
Yeah.
Just trying to go down this pathway and to be open and honest. And I guess we're already that fridge does turn on and off a lot.
No, that's right. I was just like, ooh, is it going to blow up?
It does turn on, but it gets turned off. It's an eco fridge.
I think it was about like $300. Anyway,
yeah.
Outside of this, but
yeah, I think we should just to
Yeah, but it is just saying, hey, look, I know, you lashed out at Joe Blow today. It's a bit uncharacteristic for you. Are you okay? Do you want to have a chat about something? And yeah, it could be that they're just having a bad day. Something's happened at home. I can honestly say that I don't know if it's all been this year, but a couple of people I've spoken with, they've had family overseas that are either passed away or passing away,
Yeah.
and some due to COVID, and they're just going, we can't go there because we don't know if we'll be allowed back in the country.
One of my, I want to say close. You know what? Touching on that, reaching out to people you work with as well is, I don't know if, for most industries, there is you can't say that you don't spend more time with the people you work with than the people you're actually at home with. Because you go to work, you get up in the morning, you go to work. You spend 8 hours, let's say 8 hours, hypothetically. You get home at, let's say you started at 6. You get home, say, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon when you're finally home. And then, you might get a couple of hours where you're spending time with them, but then...
Sorry, I got to stop you.
You might spend, say, let's say 4 hours with the people you love.
Yeah.
And then you're going to bed. Yeah, you're going to bed next to the people you love, but... Or you're going to bed next to your dog or something. Come over here. So this is just a good mate, Jordan. Being okay to let out and talk now, to give a bit of context into this where we are today as well. So Jordan actually also has a newborn baby as well. So we're all fresh dads. So I guess the three of us together are sort of... Yeah, look, so we're all new dads here, and we're all sort of going through this new dad and parenthood journey. I guess I want to say together because it is together because
together, you're not so alone.
Yeah,
it's so hard to deal with everything.
Well, that's it, and that's what we're trying to put out there is it's not easy to say I need help, but to be able to say I need help with this, like it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be, and that's being okay, and it is okay to do that. So that's basically what we're here for. And yeah, Jordan's come in now. He's been here the whole time, and he would have been in here a bit earlier if he wasn't holding the baby to sleep.
Meddling kid.
So yeah,
it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah,
and
that's the point we're trying to get across.
That's the point of this, is to make sure that people understand that, and to have other people here who feel the exact same thing just makes it easier for everyone. I'll come down here so it's a bit easier. Yeah, going back to it's okay to not be okay, the reason, we're all here together as mates is to have some backup, I guess. I'm probably really late to the party because we would have covered this already, but...
No, basically, yeah. So, look, it's going to be good. There's going to be heaps more coming up. There's going to be a lot more shit talking, so feel free to jump on, share, like...
like and subscribe to my channel.
Subscribe.
Yeah, I mean...
the 3 words. Sorry, I had to count that. Yeah, sorry. The 3 words you don't want to hear after sex.
Like and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Or like, subscribe, and get tested. Like, they're the 3 things I wouldn't want to fucking hear.
Oh, God, yeah, no. Definitely.
Otherwise, it'd be the audio for some sort of weird gonorrhea ad, or... Do you have erectile dysfunction?
A little.
Are you a premature ejaculator?
Yes.
Depends on the moment.
Yeah.
Every moment is the moment.
Is it me or is it her or him?
No, it's not me, it's you.
Or the dog.
It's me. That's what you're supposed to say.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
This has turned out to be the saddest podcast ever.
Jeez.
Hashtag exposed. Send it viral.
Oh.
No, look, that's what it's all going to be about. Yeah, look, I think it's good. It's going to be good. We'd love to have you all along. He's going to be along for more. He's going to be along for all of them, I hope.
I was going to say, it's kind of my laptop.
Yeah,
and you don't know how to work it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've got a laptop sitting there, but it doesn't fucking... It's just...
Credit. You'd be able to figure it out, I reckon.
It'd take a fucking long time. Wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, this podcast is all about lifting up blokes, not putting yourself down. It's going to take me forever.
No, mate. We've all got strengths and weaknesses, okay?
I'll tell you right now.
I literally cut my finger trying to open a beer bottle.
And I'm the laziest motherfucker you've ever met. I'm the guy...
I don't know, man.
Oh.
No. I drive around the car park till there's a car park space free.
Close.
Just at the doorstep. And if it's not free, right, I once had an argument with Belle, by the way, just so we're clear on that. I had an argument with Belle about the fact she would not park inside of Bunnings. You know they have the trade section?
Hang on. I don't call that laziness. I call that
Efficiency.
stupidity.
Oh, fuck you, man. Right? I'm going with
It's a pinnacle of
creativity.
human intelligence.
Now, if we go down the efficiency route, I go, no one parks the furthest away from the bloody door, right? Because who wants to fucking walk?
Exactly.
It is quicker for me to park the furthest away from the door and walk to the door by the time you've driven around the car park.
All right, chump.
Inside the store.
Yeah,
So
me too.
technically, I
And then
drove in.
I get a bill for driving through their front door.
I'll remember that next time you have to carry something heavy to the end
Yeah.
of the car park,
Well-
and I'm right at the front door
Hey,
waiting.
dude, I get it delivered.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 2K. Now that, I mean, yeah, okay, he's got me there. You talk about laziness. You got me there. Is it laziness or smart thinking?
That can be seen either way.
We're also creating jobs. So, watch out, Steve Jobs. We're coming for you. No.
Dude, he died of pancreatic cancer, you twit! Steve Jobs is dead.
Cancer's not a joke.
No,
No.
I've literally got a fuck you cancer sticker on my bike. That reminds me, I haven't been on, and that is a release for me. So
On
this
your
is
bike?
yeah. I'm talking motorbike, not a push bike.
Alright. You got stickers on my bike.
On me, yeah,
On me pushy?
Yeah, if they call them
Mate.
track stamps.
I've got stickers on my push bike. There's also got 2 flat fucking wheels, and I
A
don't know how to
monster
fix
sticker
them.
and a Volcom sticker.